morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. And you have to admit that the, the the cues for today are set for some bit of maybe not a reversal really, but some bit of arresting of the last 4-day fall that we've had in India, and I'll tell you why. Um, m- First, a look at the global markets, and I'm not showing you the European markets, but the European markets did really well in trade, and then the Nasdaq showed its hand again. So I think we had a fairly decent handover, if you will. The whole Asian pack had a very decent handover from the US markets, which and the global markets, which is actually a pretty good sign. This is the US markets on Monday, again led by the Nasdaq, which hit record highs, but the Dow and the S&P too didn't do all that badly. So that's actually a really good sign. So we had a good move in the US markets. And the other thing is, from an Asian screen perspective or an emerging market perspective or otherwise, we're seeing some bit of a pullback in the currencies as well. So is it indicative of FI flows? Is it indicative of just general weakness in the other global currencies like the dollar? That's a separate thing. But you've seen that the developing world currencies gained in April, June, July, and they've paid the 2020 losses. For everybody who said that the rupee will go to 80, 85, well, you've seen a different hand coming, and I'll get to the importance of this in a bit in the trade setup too. But the moot point is that because of all that's happening, uh, the the handover is strong. The question is, are the Asian screens reacting? So first, the Asian screens will come up on your screen, HSI, KOSPI, for example, and they'll get the SGX Nifty up on the screen as well to just show you what's the mood like. So as you can see, there's a 190-point uptick in HSI. Well, KOSPI is not doing all that poorly either. The rest of the other screen as well, the peripheral Asian screen was okay. And let's pull up the SGX Nifty. Mind you, the last 4 days, we've had even the SGX Nifty not quite depicting a real true picture. But because of the sharp pullback that we've seen, I think the move today might be symptomatic of what the street might do, which is that indices might see some bit of bottom buying today after the longest losing streak that we've seen in the last 4 months. That's the key thing. In the last 4 months, we had a very strong losing streak, and there might be some bit of bottom buying today in select names. Though the FI's flows aren't the most optimistic. There are about 17,000 short exposure added to the Nifty. Nifty Bank has seen some seriously large short exposure as well. So financials, from a trading perspective on the FI side, certainly look very, very weak. And you saw that yesterday, right? The HDFC banks, Axis Bank, Kotak Bank, everything came off in trade yesterday. The other bit is the dollar index. Now it's been declining for the last few days, and I know the general perception is that, hey, will it go down even substantially? But you have to admit that the last 2 days we've seen a bit of a pullback on the dollar index too, and and from somebody who was predicting that the dollar index will go down to 80, 85 or thereabouts, and that's all net positive, you got a rethink coming as well. So you have to bear all of these factors in mind. The trend doesn't seem to be in favor. I think we've seen a bit of a reversal there. Just that today there might be a semblance of bit of bottom buy. No Nifty earnings today, but a clutch of very important names. And 1 year ago, nobody would have thought that Dixon Technologies would be amongst the ones that everybody would be talking about. But I think it's a very important set of numbers to come out today. Astral Poly, another very important set of numbers. Godrej Consumer Products, again, not a lot of non-essentials portfolio, and therefore what they do would be interesting. There's Gujarat Gas, which had a big leg up ahead of numbers yesterday. Also have PI Industries, and we've seen what all the agrochemical companies have done, and PI may not be an exception. And Tata Consumer Products, again, a stock that has run up quite well ahead of the numbers. Chandra is kind of trying to turn the business around. It'll be interesting to see what Tata Consumer Products does as well. Just mind you, watch out for Dixon on a QOQ basis. There might be a bit of a dip because of an inoperational quarter, just that the stock has run up so much. So be mindful of that. Stocks to watch though at the session. I don't have a stock of the day today, sadly. It's not, I mean, maybe Exide could be one, and I'll talk about that briefly, but I've not put that out here. The 3 or 4 names that stood out for me: Yes Bank. So Moody's has upgraded the long-term foreign currency issuer rating post CAA plus, CAA1 from B3. This is primarily on account of the successful fundraise that Yes Bank has done. I don't know if there is an impact on the stock, but I thought it was important to flag it. So we did it on the Twitter handles yesterday and bringing it up today as well. Alembic Pharma, they've launched the QIP. I think the pricing will be decided later, but they may not. They may offer a discount of not more than 5% on the floor price. Now let's see if Alembic has a natural pullback today, or if the demand from the QIP looks strong. Maybe the other thing can happen. Now, AU Small Finance Bank. Actually, the reason I brought this up is twofold. One, Warburg Pincus, of course, reduced the stake to about 4.5 from nearly 7%. That's okay. I mean, it's not done. I mean, it's happened over a period of time. But the reason I bring this up is that while there is a large early investor which is moving out, I've spoken to a couple of very smart money managers, and all of them say that if you're looking out for small cap financials, then this one could be a really interesting name. So they're waiting for dips to come about. So if indeed there is dips because of this, some really smart money is looking to get into a small finance bank. So you have to bear that in mind. So watch out for this stock too. I think Bandhan Bank QIP subscription was okay. I mean, yes. I just want to bring out this point that don't get swayed by the fact that very large marquee FIIs have subscribed to the Bandhan Bank QIP. These are the names, and I think a lot of us get enthused that, oh, if so many people are putting in money, this is great. The stock may bounce back. It may not necessarily do that. Just bear that in mind. A lot of successful QIPs have not, from the banking side, have not necessarily resulted in the stocks moving up immediately, because large names come in to an interesting franchise at a very large discount. Is this positive, these names? Yes, it is. From a trading perspective, does it mean that the move will supposedly confidently reverse? I have my reservations. Just be careful if you're trading Bandhan only on the basis of these QIPs or these names having come into the QIP. Now, just mind you, viewers, I haven't mentioned Exide here. I thought the results were actually subpar compared to the Bloomberg estimates, but almost all brokerages have said that the numbers have beaten their own estimates. So therefore, be mindful of that. That almost everybody seems to have gone up and liked the Exide, given a thumbs up to Exide numbers. So that's one stock that you have to monitor this morning. Last but not the least, what stood out for me and something that might have a bit of a stock impact on a bunch of defense names. I think the Defense Ministry on Monday released a draft Defense Production and Export Promotion Policy, which is DPEPP 2020. It has stated objective of achieving a turnover of 1,75,000 crores, $25 billion, including export of 35,000 crores in aerospace and defense goods and services by 2025. Now, this is a long gestation thing, but you know how defense stocks have done recently, isn't it? The smallest of the announcements, and they tend to do well. So today, maybe, just maybe, watch out for HAL, BEL, the works. I mean, if they rally, you know why they're rallying. It is on account of this sentiment that might come in because of the defense policy. It's a long policy. Nothing will happen in a day. It's just a draft policy, that too. So we have to see how it gets implemented, whether the government has the finances to do all of this or not. But yeah, there is a stated objective, and that might enthuse people. So be mindful of that. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup today. Have a profitable day ahead.